What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, where we talk about how to enhance your career and your relationships. I am your host, the Cameron Lovelace, joined as always by the twisted up, nailless Dr. Sarah Lee Benson. What's going on, Sarah?
Oh my goodness. I knew you were just gonna say something about my hair. Yes, I'm rocking my natural hair at the moment.
Hey man, I'm rocking natural too right now. I ain't had a haircut.
So natural in my twist, something low maintenance for the moment. No nails yet. I don't know. Like the nail shop is open, but
Let me tell you something.
I'm just gonna hold off. I'm just gonna still hold off. I'm going, but more power to the girls who have gone. I've been seeing like pictures, or people will send me a picture or something. Well, like in like online of just what the nail shops look like now. So it's like they have like the little glass screen in front of you and you have to put your hands down. It's just a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that.
Let me tell you something. Until I see that curve, until I see numbers start to go down.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything that I don't have to do.
Yeah.
So I have to go to the store. I have to go get gas. I have to do some of these things, but those things I ain't got to do, no, I'm good. But no, I'm feeling you on the hair piece though, because I ain't cut my hair since my anniversary, which I think is, as of today, 3 days away from a month. So yeah, honestly, I've just been lazy because y'all know I normally cut my hair. So I just got lazy. I'm just like, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going. Clients, I'm between the clients on Zoom. Like they not tripping on my haircut. But my wife has like said a couple times, look, you get a little rough.
Another time.
You do something. So
yeah.
I might go ahead and take care of that today. But what was I think something was on my mind to ask you about. I forgot what it was. But what's going on in your world, Sarah? Everything's still doing 17 Zoom calls a day.
You said what?
Still doing 17 Zoom calls a day.
Right, still doing that, but all that's about to slow down though. We are gearing up for like our last few more weeks of the school year, so and then everything's gonna switch for the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
So that is good. So just working, getting these last few things done. I am looking forward for Memorial Day, which is on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we will actually be traveling to Oklahoma City. My grandmother's turning 91. And so I know she's still live and kicking it. So we're going to go visit her for her birthday. At least just go say hey, so that she can see us. So that's all that's going on in my mind. What about you? What's going on in your world?
Well, as we talked about offline, today is May 18th. May 17th is my wife's birthday, Sparkle. So we made sure to take care of her real good when she got off work on the 16th. I had her favorite kind of wing sauce. We've been to Bayou before.
Yeah.
You remember the Zydeco? Have you had their Zydeco wings?
Yeah, I've had those Zydeco wings before.
So I drove from my house all the way to Bayou to get their wing sauce. And I made her some wings fresh for her, and along with mac and cheese, sweet potato fries, and salad. So we're going to be munching on that. Yep. Going to be munching on that for a little while. I got her a couple things and paid her some money. You know what I'm saying? So it's so funny. My dad, for every year, I think since I've been like 8 years old, he's given me like, on my birthday, he's always giving me like $1 for however many years I am. So if I'm turning 8, he gave me $8. On 9, he give me $9. And it's like continue, even when I'm like 18, 20, 21, 20. Today, like this year when I turned 27, he said, oh yeah, here's $27. So he did the same thing for Sparkle. He's like,
that was nice.
It's like, it's $27. So I was like, really, you could have spent like you could have added a 1 in front of that, like a 127. We could have helped us out with some bills over here or something. But everything's
birthday.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. She could have sent her 127, could send me 127. It's only 2 months apart. You know what I'm saying? But no, that's basically what's going on in my world. We're gearing up for the summertime as well. We're about to probably be a little bit busier actually than what's going on right now, just because kids can't get right. Because kids don't want to schedule their own sessions or
of course not.
Absolutely not. So the summertime is going to be more program directed. So we'll basically, you need to show up at this time, period, or else you're gonna get in trouble. Which I'm not gonna enforce. If you want, you know me, Sarah. If you want it, you can get this work. I will give you if you come up enthusiastic, ready to go, questions, you ready to go. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna make sure you super straight. You come in, you're not. I ain't gonna waste my time on you. But that's what's going on in my world. But today we want to talk about something that a lot of people really don't talk about, but I think everybody experiences on one way or another. And it really has come about on social media, I think, rather hard, just because of the popularity of this show. Now, I have not watched a single episode of Insecure.
Oh my God.
I am not anti-Insecure. I just have not went out of my way to just sit down and watch it. And I think we're on season 4 now. They're on season 4, is on TV right now. So yeah, I just haven't sat down and just said, okay, let me sit here and see what all the hype is about. I just, I do it at my own pace. But Sarah brought to my attention that this week's episode was definitely heart-wrenching. Not necessarily heart-wrenching, but kind of like, yeah, I felt that too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you still have time to start watching Insecure. There's only like 8 episodes a season, so
okay.
Take you a day and do it.
16.
But you said what?
I thought it was like a 16, 20 season type.
I wish it was. I feel like, and the episodes are only like 30 minutes, which I wish they were longer and like more episodes, because it's really good content, honestly. But yeah, so if there's anybody out there listening to us and you've been keeping up with Insecure, everybody knows that this season is different because one of the things that they've been showing is the breakdown of a friendship. And so 2 of the main characters, Issa and Molly, they have been the whole like best friend goals like since Insecure has come on, right? So it's like, like just their whole relationship. So Molly's this lawyer, her and Issa have been friends. So it's like a friend group, like they're like the closest to. So they've seen each other at their lowest, like this is her friend. And so, but this season is different because they kind of go through a friendship breakup. And I really think that they have done a really good job of just kind of showing how things can lead up to a friendship breakup, because I don't think we really talk about that. So like the really little bitty, like subtle things that happen, the subtle ways they start talking to each other, the way they start acting, like the times where they start omitting information, like they go through, like you see this build up through the episodes. And then last week,
Yeah, because I was saying like we as the audience sees everything, but obviously when you're in it, going through it as friend A and friend B, you don't see
it.
Yeah.
And so last week's episodes, for those of you who have been following along, Issa, who she's just been having a little so Issa, I think, represents like where a lot of us like millennial late 20s, early 30s something people are. Like many of us, we've gotten out of college, we might not be in the career that we wanted to be in, and some of us are really still trying to find our way. So Issa has done several different things since season 1, and so she's finally at a place where she's found her passion and she's really trying to put action to her passion, if that makes sense. So like Issa's that friend that's probably done a bunch of things and now like they found like their thing. So last week's episode was a really big deal because she did a block party, and it's just this huge thing. And Molly, her best friend, got upset and went off on Issa in the middle of her block party, and it became like this really big thing. And so a lot was interesting, and something I really want to talk about was we really don't talk about what to do when you go through these situations or what it's like to go through a friendship breakup. And I don't know if it's the same thing for guys. I don't know. Do you guys have friendship breakups, or is
I
that or is
was
it
just
like a
thinking
girl
about
thing?
that. I
Right. And I had to think about that. Like, is it different for guys than it is for girls? Y'all
I
just not talking
yeah.
to each other.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's because we don't even make it that deep. It's not like a friend, quote unquote, friendship breakup, quote unquote. It's just like, I mean, we on a different path and you on a different path. I mean, when I see you, I'm gonna holler at you. I'm gonna speak to you, check in, see how you doing. If the friendship is really that deep, I'm gonna follow up with you more often. I'm not gonna call you every day. I might not call you every week, but I might check in on you once a month and just see
Yeah.
how things are going. But I
Y'all
don't
don't get
think,
as deep as us.
I think, well, here's the thing about guys though. A lot of guys' emotional intelligence is low.
Okay.
So like noticing things, like noticing the little things that happen along the way, a lot of guys are just oblivious to that.
Yeah.
'Cause
Y'all
we don't,
just talking up to it is what it is.
right, because as a culture, we just aren't groomed to be aware of things like that. And so, one, the oblivious of the underlying issues are never really addressed or even brought to from the back to the forefront. And another thing is, I think we just don't see a lot of things as deep. We let a lot of stuff go,
Yeah.
unless it's like foul. Because there's I remember this my one of my pro fights. Somebody that came and came and imparted some wisdom on us. Um,
uh,
he said there are two things that get between brothers:
okay.
money and women.
Okay.
Anything else you can pretty much get over.
There to
So
go.
when you
Yeah.
are dealing with your brothers, make sure that these two things are not in the mix. And so because of that, I think that as friendship, we look as obviously our friends as extended brothers. I don't think anything else. We kind of just let it go. We don't necessarily sit and marinate on it like very long. Like when, like for example, I think my a couple of times, like especially in like the beginning of our marriage, or really back when we was in a relationship before we was married, I think Sparkle would like tell me like I hadn't talked to my friend today. Like I wonder what's going on. I'm like, you talk to them every day, like every single day. Like no, we just like guys, we just don't do that. Like not every day. Like we might talk to you a couple times. If we really like Ace Boom Coons, we might just show up, hang out, have some drinks, and
Yeah.
go on about your daily life. Or I might send you something funny or something like. But it ain't like we having like full blown conversations
Every day.
every day. Like we ain't doing that. And if we don't hear from you for like a couple weeks, we ain't just
You don't think
tripping.
that wrong or
We
like
just tripping like we're just like, oh, he busy. Okay, yeah, go and do thing. Play. I'll link up with you later. We just, I think, like I said, it's a combination of we just don't notice the little things, and we just don't. And the second is we don't take things that are not money and women as extremely serious.
Mm-hmm.
So I do. You're right. I think that is a key factor when it comes to like adult friendships
Mm-hmm.
is like gender roles and how you kind of view things. And if it isn't, if we guys we just don't view a lot of things as super serious. It's like, oh, that's still you messed up, but that's still you still cool. Like if you don't owe me money and you ain't take my girl,
We
anything,
good to go.
it's good. Like you
Yeah.
talk, I mean, you talk trash to me on the basketball court, but yeah, we gonna still link up later. Let's still go out. It is what it is. Like I think from, and you can speak to that. I just think women, y'all take things a bit more personal. Like the little things y'all take personal, and then when y'all tell y'all boyfriends, y'all husbands, we like.
But
Really?
see, I think the reason why we do is because you're absolutely right. Like where guys, you aren't groomed to analyze every little thing, or like you said, emotional intelligence is a little bit lower. Girls were the opposite, right? Like our whole lives have been built on our emotions and what we feel, right? And so
Yeah.
because we're doing
Yeah.
life on life with people, like your girlfriends, your best friends, like these are the people for girls. This is the person that knows everything about me. This is the person that sees everything about me. So I have probably shared with my friends some things, and they always say you probably have like that one person where you just share everything with, right? Like that's what girls do. And so because we're in this type of relationship where we're constantly sharing, no matter what it is, we're always talking to this person like that's like your person, right? And so we do notice the little things, right? So if I haven't heard from my friend, in a few days, or if I haven't, heard from this person, of course you're gonna check in. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Because this is your person. Like this is the person who you talk to all like we're girls. We always talk. We do have a lot more going in. And so because we form these like tight bonds with these other people, when things happen, um, whether it's money, men, or whatever else, it does affect us in a way. And so, go ahead.
You know what I find interesting about that though is that a lot of those like happen. So like let's say for example, you don't hear from your friend for a little while. And when you hit them up, they're like, "Oh yeah, I've just been busy, or I've been going through some stuff. I can't really get into it." Like we as I'll say this is everybody as individuals. Everybody has a different level of comfortability with vulnerability.
I agree.
And because we don't like to show ourselves being vulnerable or that something is wrong, something has happened, we don't want to let nobody in. And so when we don't do that, we then go into the other famous phrase that we've talked about before, hurting people. We then start to push people away. And some people do that either by not talking or they just start acting funny, but you don't know, like we said in Insecure, we don't know the behind the scenes. The audience knows the behind the scenes, but
they don't know.
As friend A and friend B do not know what's happening behind the scenes. We only know what you tell us. And so because of that, we end up pushing people away. We end up hurting people. It's just, it causes such negative reaction and then causes a friction instead of just saying, look, bro, I just got furloughed and I don't know where next month's rent is coming from. And I'm just going through it. I can't kick it. I don't want to go over and just listen to you talk about this because that's not important to me right now. Like instead of we as I think individuals have a hard time doing that. And so I think when I've seen it when I've seen this in the case of women, I often see that is typically like the starting point, but it never gets addressed. And that's where kind of the friction kind of starts. And then it elevates and then it blows up. And then y'all come back together and it's like, oh, girl, why did you just tell me?
Yeah. I've seen it happen a lot of times. I think a lot of what happens with us is, like you said, we don't want to be vulnerable. I think there's a lot of miscommunication. And I think what happens is people expect other people to think and react like how they react in a sense. And Absolutely. So I say, it's, so it's like, if I can give you an example, crazy example. Years ago, this had been like, I was like 19, like 19, 20-ish. Okay. It was summertime, back home from college. So I had a crew of people who I hung out with in high school, right? Leading up to that, and now that I'm thinking about it, it was just little things that weren't even worth it. But you kind of think about it, it's like, oh, well, haven't heard from this person, right? Long story short, reached out to the person who was my best friend at the time, hadn't talked to her in weeks, even though we were both at school together. And, I just reached out to her. I was like, hey, I'm speaking. I'm saying, hey, I'm doing this in a text message. I kid you not. I hear nothing from my group of friends that whole summer. Like, literally was vanished, right? I don't have a conversation with her until December. I text her in May. So when we finally sat down and talked, do you want to know the reasoning? I was told the reason why everybody stopped talking or she stopped talking to me was because I should have called her. She felt like when I reached out to her in May, when I texted her, she felt like because of the nature of things between us, which I did not know what it was because, mind you, I had been reaching out and getting nothing or blown off. She felt like I should have called.
And
it was at that moment,
because you didn't call.
Because I didn't call, everybody stopped talking to me. Because everybody just followed suit. And so, like, I remember leaving, and I remember thinking to myself, that's so childish. Like, that's what I remember thinking. I remember thinking to myself, that's so childish. Because I was like, y'all legit stopped talking to me for damn near 6 months. I mean, for almost 6 months.
Keep it real, Sarah. Keep it real. Let it fly. Keep it real.
My bad, y'all. Y'all stopped talking to me for 6 months because I didn't call. Like, that isn't that crazy though? Like, isn't that like it was a miscommunication? And so, like, I had no idea that she wanted to call. That could have been fixed if she would have texted back and was like, "Hey, can you call me?" It could have been fixed. Something so simple could have been fixed, right? That's just like one of a few things. But I had just thought about that. That, like, I do think that there is this level of vulnerability that we don't want to show. And because we don't want to show that, because we don't want to, like, that causes this friction. And we're not really communicating with people. Like, and the other piece of that is, I think that sometimes we are afraid to have those hard conversations with each other. And I think that people, instead of like just being honest and saying, hey, this is how I feel about this, or this is how I felt when you said this, we'll hold on to it until like it blows up. So like on the episode of Insecure from last week, you could see throughout the season that there was just little things that were happening between the two friends. So little things. So like one friend will call and the other friend won't pick up because she's busy. And then the same thing will happen, right? Or one friend is trying to do something, the other friend doesn't show. So it's just like little things. And then they get to what's supposed to be a celebration. And that one more little thing is what like set the whole thing off. And I don't think people realize that, like, if you would have addressed the first little thing or had like just a little conversation before that, a lot of this could have been avoided. Because we'll get in our emotions and all of a sudden you start saying everything you always wanted to say or everything that you thought but you didn't say to that person. And at this point, emotions are high, everybody's mad, and now you know how this person really feels. You see how, like when people are upset and angry, you'll see how they really feel about you and by how they treat you. When people are upset and angry, when they feel like you have wronged them,
oh yeah,
and they feel justified in that, oh, you gonna get the real.
Oh, absolutely.
You gonna get the real.
Let me say this, because one word sticks out when I was hearing you talking, and that's conflict.
Yes.
How you are accustomed to dealing with conflict between you and another person oftentimes dictate how this pattern happens. If somebody offends you and you keep it to yourself, then the issue is going to continue to bubble on until you address it later. And by that point, when you address it later, you're not going to address it in a nice, calm way. You're going to address it when you want to blow up your anger, you're out of character or whatever. Instead of addressing it when somebody first stepped on your shoe, you want to address it after they stepped on your shoe 50 times.
Yeah. And that's the problem. Because when we get to the 50th time, now you don't care about each other's feelings. You just care about yourself. You don't care how you say it. You don't even care. Like what happened, Molly didn't care that it was Issa's big night. That this is something she's been working on.
Oh, absolutely not.
Trying. She didn't care. All she know is Issa did this, and she needs to tell her how she felt about it. What I really felt was very selfish. I feel like there's a time and a place to have certain conversations.
She don't care.
Right. But people don't care.
I can see it. She didn't care.
And see, one of the things I have learned is that, like, everybody doesn't think like that. So, like, I feel like because of the way I was raised and I just feel like just calm and decent courtesy, that if I have an issue with you, but I know that this is your thing, like this is your event, like this is your moment, I'm not going to address that issue right now. I'm gonna let you have your moment. Once it's over, we have some time to talk. Then I'll talk to you a bit, because I feel like your moment and your time is way bigger than everything else. And I might be I'm hot mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't show up. I'll let you have your moment. I'll let you do your thing, and then we can address it. But a lot of people, I have learned that when you feel offended,
right,
people don't care at that point.
right.
They don't care. They just want to get what they have to say off their chest.
And I think, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead.
Because I think what a lot of people, and for those of you who are listening, who are experiencing through this, like what tangibly can I do to deal with stuff like this when this happens? I think the first step is you got to, express some level of empathy and try to see the things from that person's perspective first before you blow up. I let me say a personal story that happened, I think around the time when I was 18, 19, when prefrontal cortex wasn't fully formed.
Right.
I remember, so I have a friend. His name is Tim. Tim when we first became friends, when we were 17 going on 18, he told me way back when, he said, look, I'm horrible at remembering birthdays. I'm terrible at remembering his birthday. Honestly, I'll probably forget my own mama's birthday. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
And so fast forward a couple years later, he forgot my birthday. Now, mind you, he told me this, but I wasn't thinking about this because this is one of my closest friends who had been through me with some things. And at the same time, I was going through some things in my personal life with my family that he had been, a part of, a little bit, not part of, but he had been there through that storm of my life. And so for him to forget my birthday, I lashed out and took real severe offense to that.
Yeah.
And when I look back on it now, I had to keep in mind, look, one, he told me flat out, straight up years ago, bruh, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at remembering birthdays. You're going to have to remind me, like, definitely you're going to have to prompt me, like, birthday's coming up. This is what I want to do, whatever the case may be. But number two, we were both at different colleges at the time.
You're in different areas of life.
Different areas of life. He got things going on in his family too. I got things going on in my family too. But I wasn't worried about him. I was worried about how I felt, in that at the time my closest friend did not tell me happy birthday. Out of all the people I expected him to be one of the first ones, and he didn't even tell me at all. And so when he come in here talking about, hey man, how's things going? I'm looking at him with the boo-boo face, like, bro, really?
Yeah.
And so I think the first step is you have to take a breather out of your emotions and try to see things from another person's perspective. Yeah. That's the very, very first thing that you got to do.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like not only do you need to see it from their perspective, I feel like you also have to acknowledge the roles that you play in things as well. So I'm looking at it from your perspective.
I don't want to hear that.
I know, but you have to, like, that's something that I guess over the past few years, when everything happened, I always try to recognize, okay, so this is what this person did. These are the facts of what this person did. Mm-hmm. These are the things that I did. And I think when you do that, you begin to see that a lot of these behaviors, a lot of these actions that other people do, we've allowed them to do them. Mm-hmm. We've allowed them to do them. At some point, it really didn't bother you, or you just let it go. But now you're at a place where maybe you've grown, right? Maybe you've grown. Maybe you've entered a new realm of life. Maybe you've done a lot of reflection. You just realize, you know what? Hey, I don't like how this person does this. I don't like how this person talks to me. Or I don't like how this person says such and such, such and such, right? And so when you're able to pinpoint those things, I feel like that can better help you having a conversation with the other person, because I feel like when you go into a conversation, all you're doing is blame, like, that's not going to help. Like, you need to be able to acknowledge, okay, this is what happened. This is what this person said. This is what I said. This is what I have allowed, right? So this is probably why this person feels like they can say these things, because I've allowed these things to happen. Does it make it right? Of course not. But you know that now.
Mm.
You know that now.
But Sarah, talk to the people about specifically when, let's say, you've been friends with this person for a season in your life.
Okay.
So whatever season, whether that was high school, whether that was college, whether that was after, whatever it was, and now after that season, you have realized through either some type of, spiritual enlightenment, or you just want to do better in life. You just realize that maybe this person who was with you for a season in your life is not necessarily good for you anymore. And like you said, you got to play. Obviously, you got to look at your role in it. But how do you go about handling that friendship? Because I think from a guy's perspective, I think a lot of us, we just kind of just slowly fizzle out. And we might say, oh, we're busy. Either we'll say, I'm not on that no more, or we'll say I'm busy. Like, say you want to stop drinking. And you say, yeah, I don't drink no more. Yeah, I'm not, I don't really like going to the club like that no more. It's just not my speed. We can go eat, we can go hoop, but no, I'm not trying to do that no more. And they're like, all right. And then they ask again. And then after a couple times, eventually the friend gets the memo, and then they stop asking to go to the club and go on drinks and stuff like that. But how do you handle that? That's my perspective from a guy. That's typically how that kind of happens when we're not on anymore.
I think with girls, I think with us, it sort of kind of happens the same way. So how you should do it and what actually happened is actually two different things.
Okay.
So what you should do in that case, so like if you are somebody who you've been in a season of life, maybe you were in college, outside of college, and you've grown, your life has changed.
Yep.
That's a good thing, right? There's nothing wrong with growth. There's nothing wrong with changing. And then you start looking at like the people who you have around you or your friends, and you're like, you know what? I'm not on that anymore. Or I don't want to do those things anymore. I need to, hook myself up with some people who are kind of along the same path as me, who have some of the same goals as me. What you should do is, one, you need to, I feel like you should just have an honest conversation with your friends and just let them know like, hey, look, life is changing. I'm changing. You guys are changing. That's okay. What you guys wanted to do is cool. I'm just not on there right now. Maybe we can go to brunch at some point, or, still be associates, right? What normally happens is sort of kind of along the same line as guys, right? Like suddenly you won't text as much, or you won't, if they want to go out and you'll say, oh, well, no, I don't really want to go out, or I'm busy or something. And eventually the person will get the memo. Like they'll get the memo that, okay, I haven't heard from this person, haven't done all those things. I feel like that just leaves too many open doors in a sense. I feel like.
Yeah. And those doors typically go in the hostile direction.
Exactly, right?
I've seen, yeah.
Because now it's like, oh, well, they think they better than me, da-da-da-da. When really, like, honestly, because I was even saying this about the whole Issa and Molly's relationship. I feel like what happens is we're all going through life, and we go through life at different points, at different stages. And the friendships that last, the people that stick around are the people who can rock with you through those stages. So they can be with you during your downs, they can be with you during your ups, and they're still that same type of friend, and they still can understand. So they understand if, I'm trying to get this degree and I may not talk to you every day. They understand that, right? They understand if you're in this space or in this space or in this space. But what happens is, that's not what always happens, right? Like, because you're going at life in different places, sometimes people may feel as if you've left them. They may feel as if you think you're better. They may feel as if something's wrong with you or something's wrong with themselves. Of course, we say comparison steals your joy. And a lot of the things that people start feeling may not necessarily have to be with you, but it's how that person is perceiving what's happening to you. Right. And so there are some people in the world, and I can give you all the example. When I was in undergrad, Greek life is a thing, went to HBCU. When I went Greek, one of my friends who was not, in a conversation that we had, she said that she felt like she was here and I'm here. And she felt like I left her. But mind you, she had no aspirations to do what I was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't get to do what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that was beyond my control. And so one of the things I tried to do was just try to show her, like, hey, I'm still the same person. We can still be friends.
Right.
But that was just one of the few conversations that people will have,
Mm-hmm.
right? They see what's happening in your world. They see all these great things happening, and that may not be what's going on in their world.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of saying, hey, this is how I feel, they just don't say nothing, right? Or they just allow things to fester, when the reality of it is we're all going through life.
Right. Now, let me say something that is, matter of fact, let me look in the camera when I say this. Let me say something that's vehemently clear. Because I think this definitely happens. Because like situations like you said, when you shift and they don't shift with you, it is not your friend's responsibility to drag you along and pull them up and pull you up to their level. It is not your friend's responsibility to pull you up and level you up. It is not my job to put you on, to want more for you than you want for yourself. I have had when I had friends, majority of my, I won't even say majority, a nice chunk of my friends in high school, if not all of them, they had a level that they said they wanted to get to, but they didn't. There were some small things that they didn't do that kept them exactly where they're at. I have a friend who got a 28 on his ACT. College, full paid for. Blew it. Why? Because he didn't want to go to class. Very intelligent guy, able to do standardized tests, not dumb at all. Went to the same college, but what he wanted to do was sleep in, play video games all night, and hang out. Now, could I have maybe reached out to him a little bit and said, hey, let's go to the library. Hey, let's do this. I probably could have, but here's what happens. You start to dim your own light. If I'm up here, if in this illusion that Sarah has just put, if I am up here and you in your perceived level are down here, in order for me to bring you up here, I have to come down and drag you back up.
That's true.
And the thing is, it is not your friend's responsibility to do that.
It's not.
It is not my responsibility to go backwards. I'm supposed to go forward. I'm supposed to keep going forward. I'm choosing to go forward and level up my life in whatever fashion it is, whether it's my relationship, whether it's my education, whether it's my career, whether it is my family, whatever it is, I am choosing to continue to go forward. I can't afford to take backward steps.
That's so true.
Because momentum happens. Momentum is real. So if I keep going backwards, there ain't no guarantee I'm going to keep going forward. So now I can help you. If you are trying to you need to come up to me. And I can help you and I can show you the steps. You can follow my path and we can get this bag together. But it is not my responsibility to drag you up to my quote unquote question perceived level.
Right.
So if you are the friend, who needs to be dragged along, like, no, you need to take ownership of that. Like you need, like Sarah said earlier, you gotta look at your role in that. You got to look at your role and say, look, I didn't do the things that they did. When they did this, I went this way. And we are in separate places in life because of these decisions. I need to take ownership of that. That person isn't better than me because of that. Though that person just made a different decision. That person chose to settle down with one girl, be faithful to one woman, get married, have a family, have kids. While I'm sitting here, 35 years old at Club Love.
But those are decisions you made.
It's because of the decisions that you made. Club Love is a good place to have a good time, by the way. I'm just saying. I was just being funny. But it is the decisions that you have made that has separated you. It is not the fact that they are quote unquote better than you. They've just made a different decision. And it's not their job to pull you to their decision. So if you have resentment, if you have any type of hostility toward that situation, I'm gonna need you to man up. I need you to woman up, look in the mirror and see your role in the situation.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think one of the issues that happens, especially when there's like some sort of like change or shift in one friend's life and not in the other, I think we get into that area of access. And by that, I mean is, so like I said before, with girls, we pretty much talk to our friends like every day, like this is your person, you have access to this person, you can do these things, you know. But when life begins to happen and you have to shift, some people don't know how to shift. So if your friend, you and your friend have both been single, but your friend meets somebody, then gets married, you have to shift with that, right? Like that's a shift you need to make. Or if your friend gets a job somewhere, that's a shift you need to make. But what happens is people don't know how to shift. I think people, like I said before, they view you from their perception of your life, right? Or maybe you've been in a certain situation for so long, that's all they ever see you as. And so when you start changing or you start shifting and life starts to happen for you or things start to happen, they don't see your change as a good thing. They see it as something bad because they're just used to you being in that one spot.
And it's not. And the thing about the shift, Sarah, the shift is good for me. The shift was made because I need to make a decision for myself. When I left and moved to Memphis from my college town, all the people that I was hanging with, they chose to stay in that same area. I'm choosing to move over here. Like that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's a decision that I made for myself. Me getting a relationship, me going and pursuing me pursuing my master's degree, you pursuing your doctorate degree. That was the best decision for you. That ain't the best decision. That ain't the best decision for me. If Sarah says I'm gonna go after and get my PhD, hey, that's woo. We'll shift. That shift means she got to work on her dissertation for 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah. That means she can't just kick it like she used to. She can't kick it like she did in her master's.
Yeah.
She can't kick it like she did when she was getting a bachelor's. She can't kick it like she did in high school. That's a different level of focus. When you shift, they're shifting for themselves. And you got to, like Sarah said, you got to learn how to shift with it. That shift looks differently. That shift doesn't mean you can go out for drinks every Thursday like you used to.
Yeah.
That shift doesn't mean you guys can just hang out on a Saturday night watching Netflix. Like, no, we ain't got time for that no more. But that doesn't mean I don't care about you. That doesn't mean I don't love you.
Exactly.
But that means that we gotta shift some things. Like some things gotta change. If you're gonna still be my friend, my true friend as an adult, as I get married, as I have kids, as I move maybe from one state to another, as I get in a larger career, as you get in a larger career, we gotta learn that, look, these shifts aren't bad. They're better. They're good for us. So in order to shift in the friendship, we got to learn how to make the adjustment. So that if that means instead of us hanging out every Thursday for a whole year straight, maybe that means we go on vacation. We go on a Bora Bora next year. Yeah. Start saving your money. Get your passport. We go on a Bora Bora for a week straight to catch up, and we gonna kick it.
Yeah.
That's what the shift looks like, people.
I agree. No, you said a word right there, because one thing I have noticed is that instead of shifting with the person, people, they view it as a negative thing. And I don't know if it's because where they are in life or because they won't have access to the person. But like you said, it's a good thing for you. And it could be a good thing for the friendship as well. Like, but you never know, because people are only used to what they have at that moment. Not recognizing that we can still be friends if I live in New Mexico. Right? We can still be friends if you move to New York. Like, those are just...
You might not be my best friend that I talk to every day, but you're still my friend.
You're still my friend. You know, and I don't think people understand that. I don't think people understand that. I think that, well, I have to say for some women, I don't think some women understand that. I think that that's where a lot of like issues and difficulty come into, is this whole shifting and changing piece. But the reality of it is, nobody stays the same throughout life. Like, there's going to be some sort of change. There's going to be some sort of something. I mean, you're not the same size you were when you were born. You're not the same age. Like that's constant. The only thing constant in life is change. Right. But we see these breakdowns, like we're seeing, played out on TV, which we see in real life. We see these friendship breakdowns. We see these things. And it could be a lot. It could be a lot to deal with. You know, one of the things that I always say, we talk about like, what do you do when you break up in a relationship? But like, we really don't talk about like, what do you do when you break up with a friend? Um, but you still have to deal with that. Like, so if you're listening to this and you're going through a friendship breakup, like, know that, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the person. And it might just be the end of that season. And it's okay. There are seasonal friends and there are lifetime friends.
People are in your life either for, what is it? A reason, it's either a moment. I can't remember it. It's either a moment, a reason, or a season, or a lifetime.
Or a lifetime.
Some along those lines. But yeah.
And you just figure out where that person fits. Like there are some people who are going to be there for forever. And there's some people who are not. And it's okay. I think the piece that I want everybody to gain from today is that it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay, and it will be okay. Because I see so many people who have been dimming their light, like their own light, just to keep certain people around and certain friends around. And I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice with that. Like you're doing yourself a disservice because you won't allow yourself to grow and experience life and do certain things because your friends don't want to do it or your friends don't like it. And you'll miss out on life making decisions for them or only wanting their approval and things of that nature when you don't have to deal with that. You can go and you can be great and you can do a lot of great things in the world. So, yeah.
That's a fact. And also, let me say this about quote unquote friendship breakups. Like after you get through like self-assessing yourself and like really reflecting over the whole thing, you got to really like decide, okay, is this really worth it?
Yeah.
Is it worth it to even try to like repair this situation? Like I can remember a situation with somebody that I was, counseling, and they just had a realization is like I don't think it's worth it. Like this person, like even though we've been through this thing called life, we've been through this season together, like we're just on two different paths right now, and she's not in a place where she can emotionally see that and respect it, and she sees it as a problem, and really it's just growth, and it's not my job to help her realize that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really got intentions now, because it's not your responsibility to pull them along. If they don't want to, look, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You cannot force your friends to level up with you. If they don't want to level up, they want to stay in their hometown smoking weed, working at a factory all day, and you want to move to a bigger city with a higher paying job, less hours, and build generational wealth, that's perfectly cool. But you can't force that other person to do that. They have to want that for themselves and link up with you.
That's true.
And I know it's hard. That's hard to hear. Obviously, I know I'm saying it straight to the point. Y'all want to hear that? Y'all want to say, but they're my friend. They've been with me since we was in diapers. Oh, and y'all can stay in diapers, or you can level up to some big boy pants or big girl panties. Like, look.
Yeah.
I know.
I agree. And it's okay. It's okay if you and your friend are on different life paths. Like, it's okay to grow up. And it's okay to grow. It's okay to change. It's okay. It's okay to decide that you don't want to do certain things anymore. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Like, right. And don't let nobody make you feel bad for wanting to do something different or to be different or do what, the Lord is leading you to do, like that path in life. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it might hurt. Don't be just because it hurt. Oh, yeah. Just because it's painful, just because it's frustrating to deal with conflict. And I think a lot of us, when stuff doesn't feel good at first, we have a hard time like accepting the things. Yeah. It is what it is, but that's not the case. Sometimes that pain is good for your growth, so that one, you can remember that pain when something similar happens. You're like,
I don't want to go there.
Chill out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I got you.
Well, I think this was a good one. Let me also, matter of fact, let me go ahead and let me just make this offer out here, because I let Sarah take the assessment, but I'm also, let me offer to you guys to do a self-assessment. Like if you like have a hard time like seeing your blind spots and cannot like physically like see like what type of person I am and maybe where the gaps and stuff are happening, because you really got to start with yourself.
Yeah, you do.
Right? So you got to see what type of person, how do I handle myself emotionally, day-to-day stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will do a one-on-one session with you guys. You guys can take an assessment that I do with companies that I charge for. So it's going to cost you a little bit, but not a lot of bit. I'll put the link on the screen for you guys to check out. If you really want to like see your blind spots, I can do that for you. But I'm gonna put the offer, like I'm put it on the screen. Take it or leave it. That's on you.
Yeah.
But this was good. This was good, Sarah. I'm glad you brought this to the table.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with current events. And not only that, I just feel like it's just a conversation that we really don't have a lot of times.
Absolutely. Especially
it's not until you start talking to other people who've gone through it that it's like, okay, I'm not the only one. And so, so yeah, I just feel like that was just a conversation. It's just a conversation we need to have. Right. So if you know somebody who's going through something similar, if you're keeping up with insecure, somebody who's going through something like that or have gone through that, share this with them. Maybe they can share this with another person and just know that, hey, you're not the only person out here that's going through this. We all going through it, or we have gone through it. And it's okay.
Facts.
Most definitely okay.
Facts. Well, all right. I think that's all we got. Sarah has a friend she got to catch up with. But give us that 5-star review on iTunes. Share this with somebody that you know needs to hear this message. Give us that like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. And just let us know what y'all think of this. I really want to know what y'all think of this episode. And because this was a great one. All of them are good, but this one was a great one. But bring it to you every single Thursday. And until next time, we'll see you next week.
Bye.